So during this past month of investigating Generation Select's figures of various genres, we've taken a look at bots from all walks of life, from obscure late G1 lads, Diaclone dudes, and walking GoBot homages. And with that, I say we round off this year's Pride Month Generation Select's party with this stupendous Siege Seeker. Let's soar to the sky with this Cardinal of Chaos, it's Generation Select's Red Wing. Is that like a Falcon reference? So we kind of don't really know who Red Wing is. They're not a fully pre-established character like many of the other Gen Select's characters, and I'm not really sure where they came from. Maybe Hasbro saw the Rainmakers and thought,
well, we might as well make a red one.
Cause to us Transformers fans, there is simply no such thing as too many Seeker repaints. If you want an idea of how obscure Red Wing is, their entire TF Wiki character bio is exactly one sentence. Red Wing has a devil-may-care attitude and some powerful guns, so what more do you expect? TF Wiki, never change. Anywho, as you might imagine, Red Wing here is a repaint of Siege Starscream, serving us their pre-Earth Cybertron-y spacey shuffle. And let me tell you, this figure isn't just red, it's red hot! Look at this thing. This is possibly the most attractive looking Seeker robot mode I've ever seen. The proportions look so right and dynamic, like they just leaped out of a comic book. And the color choice here is everything. I'm just so tickled by the concept of a red Seeker, since amazingly, we didn't really have those before. This is giving me real Sith Trooper energy here. This is red. It's redder than red. It's redder than Ruby Rose. It's not redder than Mississippi though. I know that cause Red Wing ain't homophobic. And the blacks and whites all complement it all so beautifully in a wonderful harmony. A bit like a goth Canadian. And I appreciate just how far out the sculpting goes on this figure. It might not be to everyone's taste, but for me, it just adds to the sci-fi space aesthetic. I 100% adore the look of the white Seeker shoulder things placed over their red chest, like towering, imposing columns, and that head sculpt here is too beautiful for words. I don't even know what to say about it. It's just absolutely filled with personality, head detailing for days, and beautiful orange light piping. If there's anything at all I'm not crazy about, it's predictably the Siege battle damage painted all over the figure. I feel like it kind of went overboard, taking over more than it needed to. If it was subtle, like on the very edges of the plastic in certain spots, it might have worked better. But as it stands, it just kind of looks like they just got done with some intense splatter painting. I'm also not quite sure why these scuff marks have to be in so many different colors. Like the silver makes a bit of sense, like it's black paint over silver metal. But there's also like gray scraping. Is that supposed to be dirt? Or is just their legs made out of gray metal? And don't even ask me about the brownish red splotches on the back. It's just not my cup of tea. I can't fault them for trying something new with the battle damage theme for Siege. I just don't think it really paid off that much, for me personally. But that doesn't even come close to taking away a single iota of this figure's sexiness. Oh hey, should I talk about the articulation for a bit? Oh my goodness, the articulation on this figure is good. This is one of the most agile Voyager class figures I've ever seen. It can do ballet, it can do the Iron Man pose, you can make the wings emote, it's just a non-stop party when Red Wing's in town. For accessories, it's normal Seeker affair with these two null ray blaster things, which is good because honestly, do you want it to come with anything else? They fit snugly on the shoulder if you want to keep it classic, but due to the insane amount of weapon ports scattered throughout, you can theoretically place them anywhere. Plus, if you want, you can take some weaponizers and turn them into a high-flying, hull-raising instrument of destruction. So for size comparison, here's Red Wing next to an Earthrise Seeker, a Studio Series Seeker, a G1 Seeker, and the Silmarillion. And that's basically Red Wing's robot mode rounded up. It's a basically perfect Voyager class robo with just about everything you could ask for. Radiant as a robin flying in a field of ruby red roses. I'm not quite certain how to feel about the transformation. The arms compact themselves quite cleverly, and I adore how the shoulder stacks become the front of the jet mode. And the wings do satisfyingly tab in, but it's pretty hard to ignore that the main body just rolls into a ball and hides from the monsters under this blanket of jet parts. But I guess it's easy and fairly stress-free, and I can't say it isn't enjoyable. And when you're done, you're left with this pretty gorgeous Tetrajet mode. I have to admire the attempt of trying to be as faithful as possible to G1's established Cybertron aesthetic between the Seeker's robot modes and their alien jet form. So even if the final result is less than perfect, it's still an impressive feat that they even succeeded. It's very angular all around, and I love how gradual the curve of the middle section is. Once again, all the colors seem to stick out in a screamin' serene scheme. And as far as faithfully representing what this particular fictional unearthly vehicle looks like, this is possibly the best they could have done without compromising the robot mode. This does, however, transition to the rather unavoidable robot legs bent up on the underside, trying not to make things awkward. Their chest is also just stashed away on the back like they didn't have anywhere else to put it. But I'm not certain what else they could have done to make it look better, and I truly believe the rest of the jet form is so remarkable aside from that, it's easy for me to look past it. I also really appreciate how large the back is so you can position it in full blast-off mode, and all around there's no hiding to this alt mode, and that wasn't a joke on the robot mode legs peeking out. I mean, this jet mode is exactly what it looks like. And to be fair, while this is still an alien space mode thing, it still looks like it actually turns into something, which is more than what a lot of other figures of this sort of alt mode can say. But yeah, there's no way I don't love this toy. It's not 1000% smooth with some parts of the jet, but everything else is so above and beyond great. It's just a fantastic figure, and a wonderful example of how absolutely dynamite a lot of the Siege toy line was. Plus, when you group them with the other Seekers, there's no mistaking that this just has the energy of a Decepticon team. The Seeker design just does have that magic. But is the Siege Seeker mold better than the Earthrise Seeker? I guess it depends on what you prioritize. Like, I personally prefer the Earthrise Seekers because of the more satisfying transformations and no overbearing battle damage. However, the Siege Seeker mold is more articulated and dynamic looking in robot mode, so either way, they're both absolutely slamming figures and you can't go wrong. And Red Wing makes for a wonderful conclusion to this year's Generation Selects theme Pride Month extravaganza. In keeping with my other videos this past month, that being Pride Month, I wish to give a shout out to Glisten, GLAD, and the Trans Lifeline. All of these are organizations dedicated to helping LGBTQ+ people, and there's links to all of these websites' donation pages in the description of this video. Please consider looking at them and donating if you're able to. Thank you so much for watching along this Pride Month, for those of you who've been watching this whole time, or if you're just discovering the channel. It really means a lot. I guess it was important for me to make my channel feel welcoming in this way, since I feel like the subject of queer people existing isn't something that ever is really acknowledged on these specific niche channels or contexts, unless it's for educational purposes specifically centering on queer issues. And I understand that geekdom, fandom culture can seem pretty discriminating and exclusionary. So, as a queer person myself, I just wanted to have this vocal celebration on the channel. Anywho, please hang tight, I'll have more reviews for you lot in the future, and please, stay charming. Till all are one and that good stuff.